Today we're talking about Sektor and Rain together. And I was aware that some people like to use Sektor with Rain, particularly Ketchup from Ketchup and Mustard fame. But at the time I didn't really care, because to be honest, I didn't really like Sektor or Cyrax that much at all, so I didn't really care to use him. I also thought that other cameos were just better at doing what he did. Like at the time I was using Striker and Kano, and I was like, why would you use Sektor if you can't use this combo with his ambush or whatever? But now that my discriminatory preferences are out of the way, and I went to the lab, he is actually quite good and very useful for Rain. He has 3 distinct cameo moves that are all really useful for Rain in different ways. They're simple to use and just are honestly really useful moves for Rain, and we'll go through them in order. We've got this flamethrower move that you can just throw out tons in neutral. It leads to really good plus restand, and it is also plus on block and pushes the opponent really far away. So it is really good. You can just throw it out a ton in neutral with Rain. You can run away and throw this, like, backdash and throw this out. It's really good for space control. We've got, like, if you feel a little bit more YOLO, you think you can catch the opponent trying to do something, you can throw out this and try and get a full combo while you're zoning. And then we've got, the most infamous, the rocket, which, I thought wasn't too useful because you have to, it's just kind of iffy. It's not like guaranteed that you'll get a combo or something. You kind of like set it up and then hope that the timing is right, that you get these cool combos. But now that I've labbed, if you actually use a smart way of using the rocket, you can consistently get really good setups that do a lot of damage, are like plus on block. They're just really, really good, and it just took a little bit more thinking than I had previously done. So let's get into it all. We'll start from the least useful and go to the most useful. So the least useful to me is probably this uppercut. It's kind of slow, so unfortunately it doesn't combo from anything you would want to combo from with Rain. The only thing that you can combo from is 2-1-1-1. And I think the most damage you'll get from this is something like this. A little bit of a dash into a 4-2-1. You get nearly 30%, so it's not really worth it, but if you do really need a meterless combo, it's basically the best you're going to get with Sektor, unless you go for this kind of combo, which is a little bit more complicated. Then you can get a little bit more damage. You can even squeeze a 4-2 in there, but if you do just want something too simple to end a round and you don't have any meter, then I guess this is useful. It also can be thrown out in neutral. Just keep in mind that it is really quite punishable, but if you are around this range where, Rain usually can't do much and you want to catch the opponent, I don't know, doing something slow, there is a chance that you can throw this out and get a full combo from quite a distance. The hit stun does seem to be kind of random. The way the opponent tumbles in the air can really make it so you jump 2 whiffs, so it's only really consistent from close, but you can get it from some surprisingly far ranges, like that there. Why did that connect and not the other times? I don't know. But yeah, kind of useful, but more limited than the other things. And we've got this forward cameo, which I mentioned. Look at this, amazing range. Reaches extremely far. The second hit reaches even further. It's plus 19 on hit, and it's a restand, so it'll be plus 19 all the time. You can easily get this in your combos off of, any standing 1 or something from any of normal combos. It's decently damaging. Just basically has a ton of good properties that you can always be using it. If you do a little bit of a wave dash, which I'm not so good at the moment, I haven't practiced in a bit, you can wave dash in and get some meaty attacks after the restand. But what's really good about this in terms of combos and stuff is that it consistently connects off of your back 2. Not much in the game does this, especially cameo attacks. Usually they're just too slow and they whiff. Rain usually just has to do this and hit confirm into the launcher and just do nothing if it does it on its own, and that is actually technically unsafe. So the fact that you can just always dial this in and it always connects even from up close, even like Rain's own things don't connect from up close. From further away they do, but Sektor always connects with this. And that's really good because you have this plus restand, which you can go into your overhead from. And even though it technically could be mashed out by an 8-frame button, from this distance, I don't think it's going to connect. And see, even your overhead doesn't connect there. But I think when the opponent is in this, like, oh my god, flame state, they have a slightly boosted hurtbox, sorry. where you can hit them with the overhead, and that connects pretty consistently unless the opponent goes for armor or something. So really, really, really strong move, and it's just so good that it connects after that because not much does. Really cool. Also, take a note of the top left of the screen when I use this move. It recharges so quick. Look, it's recharging as soon as Sektor comes out. That is extremely irregular for cameos in this game. Usually they only start recharging once they leave the screen. But look, by the time he leaves, it's already like, I don't know, a third or a quarter recharged, and it recharges pretty quickly. So not only is it a useful move to use in your combos and stuff, you can kind of just throw this out whenever you want. Throw it out in neutral, throw it out after you're down 3s. It can be mashed out of. Whoops. But the opponent has to be pretty on their toes in order to do that. If I'm even just slightly slow, I'll get counter hit out of it. If I am fast, you see, even here, it's pretty difficult to do with my slightly slower poke. If I'm really close, I can get them with this one pretty easily. But yeah, pretty good thing to throw out. And once again, you can just do it because it's safe. Actually, it's plus. It's just so good. You can throw it out all you want. Particularly, like I mentioned, just throwing it out in neutral around here. Even if the opponent is like reacts to it somehow, it's pretty fast. And like they're trying to chase you down. Imagine this guy's dashing towards me. I can just like backdash, throw this out, backdash, throw it out again, and they just can't get to me. Even if I just do a single backdash into this, we're full screen, I'm +3. This also means that anytime I have slight plus frames, I can use this as a way of enforcing them. Like if I land my whirlpool, people try to dash in or something, boom, I can push them away with that. It is so good. The opponent, I believe, can armor through the second hit, because a lot of strings, like this is actually a true block string. I can't armor in between that. If I try to armor as he comes out, it doesn't work. But I can armor in between the second hit to punish him, so it's not completely safe. But, you know, even if you're just getting hit by an armor attack, that doesn't really matter too much unless they get a combo from it. But what's weird about this is that usually when a cameo in this game gets hit, you know, they get a little bit blacked out and they don't recharge for a little bit, and there's, you know, a little bit of delay. Not only is Sektor as fast, that doesn't get affected at all. It still keeps recharging. So even if the opponent hits you out of it, does something, this thing is going to come back quick and you can just keep spamming it. It's basically a mid-long-reaching Lao hat that can be used as a zoning tool, a spacing tool. It can anti-air from certain ranges. It's a restand. It is just really spammable, to be honest. So if you like moves like that, you're going to love this. Really, really good. And then we get to the star of the show, the homing rocket. Now, the way that I found is best to practice using this is lab the different ways and like set situations that you go into it. So for me, I have it based off of jumps or off of specific knockdowns. So if I go for jump in and I tap Sektor while I'm at the top of my jumping arc, I know that I can do a jump in into my 2-on-1 string, and this will be perfectly timed. And I get a nice, juicy combo from that. And keep in mind, I do like to do extended combos from this, where I spend meter, because the longer you do a combo, the faster he comes back. Wait, I mean, not technically, but, you know, he comes back during the combo, so he'll be back sooner by the time you're in neutral and stuff. If I tap him as I go for my jump, so just like tap him and then jump, I know I can do a shorter string and go for this combo. That can be my forward 2-1, that can be my 1-1, any of that, any 2-hitting string will work in that situation. But if I do it later in my jump, at the peak of it, then I do my 2-1-1. You know, pretty simple to keep track of here. And yeah, that's the pinnacle of how I learned how to use it, because then you have these nice timings where if I know I'm able to get a jump in or something, I can go for this jump in. If I do it early, then I go for one of these 2-hitting strings. If I do it late, I go for that. Pretty cool. There are a few other types of ones, like in the late one, I can also combo from my overhead. Wait, is it the late one or is it the early one? Maybe it's the early one. Oh yeah, it's the early one. So yeah, along with doing, 1-1 and forward 2-1, you can also do forward 3 into the cancel, so you get some extra mix up there. It's just really good, and what's really good about this is not only do you get these guaranteed combos and stuff, you also have the automatic pressure potential, because any of these strings are automatically going to have this missile falling down, and the opponent's not going to be able to interrupt you whenever you go for your projectile cancel or that thing, the world, what is that? The portal cancel. And because you're doing the sector setup as you jump forwards, the opponent is not going to hit sector out of it, so there's no chance of the rocket kind of being diffused as it comes down. So I think these are really good ways of setting up potential for this. And as long as you're used to doing this combo and with any other ambush character, and you know the timing of just going for it and then mashing projectile, then mash forwards, and then go for the overhead, it feels just the same as any of the others, except you just have to use your Kameo as a bit more of a setup rather than a mid-combo pressure tool / extender. And you might be thinking that, always doing it based on a jump-in will leave you open to being up-locked a lot if your opponent does go for those. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you can just not go for jump-ins in a lot of setups or knockdowns, and go for stuff like this instead. So mix up not going for the jump-in and get the same reset as long as you do. I did the wrong timing one there, I did mid-jump. But you can mix up, not actually doing the jump in, and then you have, the automatic mix up of people doing up lock or just, getting beat by not blah 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 by doing an empty jump. There are also some other timing things that I like if I poke with the down 4, quickly, if I see it hits, I know that I can dash in and go for this. Or I can just do it by default, because down 4s are safe, so it's not like I'm going to get punished for doing this. So I do it, call out Cyrax, do a dash in, down 4, dash in, actually jails into a standing 2, by the way. And then there we go, that's another easy way of timing that. Off of down 1s and down 3s, I don't have anything too specific, unless you just press it at the exact same time as you press the down 1, but then there's a good chance that you're going to get poked out of it, and we don't want that. You're going to get punished, and Sector's going to get hit as well. That's the problem with that. But with the down 4, that's another timing. And yeah, I think those are the main examples. If you do it off of some kind of knockdown like that, with the geyser, I recommend just as the opponent is kind of falling down, so after they hit the peak of their getting hit by the second one there, that is a good time to summon Cyrax if you're going to stay on the ground. Now. There we go. So yeah, they have to be partway through their fall, otherwise it'll be slightly the wrong timing, and generally that's going to be a good. I haven't got an exact one for down 2s yet. Maybe if I do it at the exact same time. Oh, that's going to fall in front. Yeah, and down 2s also change depending on when the opponent gets hit in the air, so I don't think that's a good one. But I think those, that's 3 different types, from the beginning of the jump, halfway through the jump, down 4, and geyser. I think that should be enough to get you started practicing with these. And then of course you just have the option of having it as part of your zoning, and anytime you think that it might hit, when you think it's close to hitting, that's when you go for the whirlpool, because it leaves the opponent grounded, so you may as well throw out a whirlpool. If they block it, cool, you get some chip damage and some plus frames, but if they do happen to get hit by this missile that is kind of tracking, then they'll get sucked into the whirlpool and you get a full combo from full screen, which is, always good to be aiming for that. I don't think you really need to be using the homing from it. It spends the entire Kameo bar and takes ages to come back. It's just not worth it. It's decently homing enough, even on its own. And the one last application is that there are some kind of combos like this that you can get. but I think they are maybe a little bit too finicky and tricky to be aiming for, especially considering the reward from them is not that great. So I get like 313 damage from that, whereas if I just do a simple combo like this, I get, yeah, about 30 less damage, but it's a lot easier to do, and I also get my cameo back faster, so if I want to go meterless, I'd probably still do that. And to be honest, that's kind of Sektor. Another strength that he gives you is this throw is very useful for Rain. Pushes the opponent completely full screen. Like, full screen, not just far away. So you've got time to throw a few projectiles, and then once you're in this state, you know, you're throwing things out, comboing into your whirlpool. You're really getting the Sektor mojo going. So despite me originally not liking Sektor, after playing and labbing with him for a little bit, I must say I'll have to play with him a little bit longer to be sure, but it is certainly satisfying to have a cameo that fits Rain so well. Something that goes really well after your back 2 is so useful, also off of your down 3, like also something to just throw out in the neutral, and you still have the like ability to go for these combos, and like it enhances your zoning. It really is a kind of a cameo that does it all, and also to me isn't too annoying with the ambushes. His rocket is a little bit like ridiculous and has that annoying ambush effect, but to me I think there's certainly worse ambush attacks in the game that are a lot more criminal, because at least this one you have to kind of set up and you can't just do, oh, I made a mistake, let me cover myself with an ambush. So I like it. Oh, there was one more thing to mention, but it's not too useful. The flamethrower is a wake up. It's not too useful, but against simple Oki like that with Rain just doing a forward 2, it does work, but it doesn't have too long of invincibility, so if the opponent does something that's slightly mistimed, they will still hit you. But at least it recharges fast, so honestly probably one of the better wake-ups now that I think about it. And if the opponent does block it, let's see how unsafe it is. Oh, no way that's still +3. Frame data in here usually lies, but if that's +3 and recharges fast, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Alright, I'm gonna play some Sektor and see if I can convince myself that he and Darius might be my new favorite cameos. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.